So if you're coming to Canada as a student, permanent resident, or worker, I'm making this video to help you understand what you need to do to find a place to rent before and even after you land in Ontario. Number one, research rents in your area. Go on websites like Realtor.ca, Kijiji.ca, or even my Realtor website. Search for properties that have the number of beds and baths that you need and get a good idea of how much it's going to cost you to rent a home on a monthly basis. You'll be very surprised by the number of immigrants that make the mistake of skipping this step and then later finding out that they have to go back home for a few months because they weren't prepared to handle all the costs. But now you know. You can expect to spend about $1,800 to $3,000 per month on rent alone, depending on where you're looking to stay and what you need. Number two, understand the monthly bills. In addition to your rent, you're also going to be paying for electricity, water, heating, internet, parking, security deposit, and renter's insurance. Understand the cost of these bills in the area you're looking to rent so you can be prepared. You can expect to spend $750 to up to $2,000 per month on bills or even more, depending on your needs. Number three, prepare for a large deposit. Landlords need to see your Canadian employment letter, credit report, references, proof of income, as well as other documents that will help them understand if you can or cannot afford to pay your rent on time. And as a new immigrant, you most likely won't have any of these documents or references. And this means that landlords will most likely avoid renting a place to you because they literally cannot understand how you intend to pay your rent without any evidence that you're already able to do so. Now, to make up for this fact, you're going to need to come up with at least 4 to 6 months rent as an upfront deposit to convince landlords to consider your rental application. So if you've done your research and you found that rent in the area you want to stay is $2,000 per month, you need to budget for $8,000 to $12,000 as an upfront deposit. Now keep in mind, the higher your deposit, the better your chances of getting a place to rent. Without this large deposit, getting a place to rent is going to be very, very frustrating. Number four, understand how deposits work. Most landlords only consider applications to rent a home for at least 12 months. So if, for example, you're putting down a deposit of $12,000 for 6 months of rent, this is how your $12,000 will be applied. If your 12-month rental term is starting in January, $2,000 will apply to your rent for January and another $2,000 will apply to your rent for December, leaving just $8,000 to go. Now this $8,000 will then be applied to the remaining months of your rental period starting from November, meaning that this $8,000 remaining will start to count for the months of August, September, October, and November. Now, when you eventually move in, since you've already paid for the months of January, August, September, October, and November with your 6 months rent, that's your $12,000, you'll be expected to continue paying your rent on time for the months of February, March, April, May, June, and July. And once you pay your rent for July, you don't need to pay anything to the landlord anymore. You just need to handle your normal bills as usual. Number five, find a guarantor. A guarantor is someone who the landlord can turn to in the event that you fail to pay your rent. Your guarantor will essentially have to pay your rent if you fail to do so for any reason. Now, because you don't have any of these documents, your guarantor will provide their own employment letter, credit reports, identification, and proof of income. This provides the landlord with some insurance in the event that anything happens. Now, I know that the requirements to get a place to rent in Ontario are pretty high, but that's because there's a serious problem with the rental system here. Some landlords have been kicked out of their own houses by tenants. Others have been driven into bankruptcy because tenants refuse to pay their rent on time or pay their rent at all. And evicting a tenant is very, very difficult. Yes, the tenant's financial life will be negatively impacted for a very long time, but so will the landlords, and they are really not prepared for any of that wahala. Now, if you're looking for a place to rent, and you've prepared yourself according to what we just discussed, check out the link in the description of this video, fill out the form, and I'll try my best to get you settled as quickly as possible. Thank you very much for watching. Share with your friends. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.